Most embarrassing moment story time. Go. I was 8 years old. My friends and I were running around on a forest trail while our parents were having a picnic somewhere behind us at a rest stop. Good times. Now I was lagging behind some of my friends because I was just taking the time to enjoy nature and the miracle of childhood. To the right of me was a slightly sloping ledge. On top of the ledge was a big redwood tree, and leaning behind the redwood tree was, I saw a man. Half hidden from sight, if you will. Now, he must have seen me because he leaned even further behind the redwood tree, but my interest piqued. Well, what are you doing? Why are you hiding? Come out, wherever you... Turns out that he was peeing into the ground. But all things considered, I didn't actually react like that because as soon as I got the gist of what was going on, I immediately bolted back onto the path. Don't ask me what I remember I saw because I was just so traumatized, and I just also traumatized by the thought of traumatizing that guy in return that I can hardly even remember anything. All I remember, I think, is just seeing extreme. But okay, the past is in the past. Maybe coming to terms with this past will finally cleanse my palate. But my final question really here is this. Of all the places, why did the guy have to do his thing there? Like, wasn't he aware that there were a lot of kids running around that pathway? So why there? Why? Story time, go! I was 10 years old, going around the neighborhood stocking up on candy in my cowgirl costume. Oh, and my dad was with me. Their mom is standing in the doorway, and she greets my dad and me, and she's like, "Oh, so you're in the neighborhood, huh? Well, nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too." The nice family gives us candy, lets us pet the dog, wishes us a happy, healthy Halloween, and waves us along our way. Meanwhile, there's a new door a ways away to the side of the house where we were at. "Oh, Daddy, come on, let's try this door. I don't think we tried this one before." We thought it was a duplex of some sort, but it wasn't. And when we rang the doorbell, the same family show up at the doorstep. "Oh, what's that?" "Oh, that's not a separate house. It's just a side door." "Oh, okay." And then the nice family gives us more candy, lets us pet the dog, wishes us a happy, healthy... Oh, who am I kidding? I'm getting so much cringe just thinking about appearing at the same household. Definitely not the most embarrassing story out there, but I do cringe every time I think about it to this day, so I guess that accounts for something. Story time, go! And I promise you that this story is going to be way more embarrassing this time. So I attended a small Russian school on the side of my regular school curriculum, and I was just graduating 6th grade, and we were starting to play tag. And we were playing tag around the school building. Sometimes the chaser would have moments of remission where he would be tired or call out T.O. Not this time. And with all the abundance of energy that Vlad had, he set his eyes on me for some reason, and he chased me inside the building, inside the room where the graduation ceremony was to take place. Now mind you, there were adults inside the same room. And to escape Vlad, I had to run around a chair several times, maybe even pushing a couple more into his path so he wouldn't tag me. I realized I'd gone too far when my mom intervened and had us stop the entire racket. But that's not what upset her. "Hun, what have you done?" "What, Mama, the chairs?" "You just kicked an old lady in the chest." And then the old lady came hobbling in, demanding to know why I kicked her, and my mom was telling me off to the side at the same time, and here I was like, I don't remember kicking an old person. Oh, no. I'll just leave it at that. To this day, I don't remember how I could have possibly kicked an old person in the chest, but, maybe I did it while I was running around the chairs, But I do remember being absolutely mortified that this happened to an old lady. I, of course, apologized profusely. The old lady demanded I don't ever do this again because obviously I could give someone a heart attack, and then if, I could be in juvenile hall for killing someone. And then my mom took me out for a timeout, and I was so shocked about what happened and the karma that finally bit me in the butt for playing tag that I started crying before the graduation ceremony, and one of the moms found me and she consoled me, and then I went to the bathroom to, wipe my tears. And then my mom found me in the bathroom and she gave me some Coke to, drink up and be calmed down, everything even was starting to even out from there. After that, I avoided the old lady, and, to this day, we never really talked about that situation again. With all due respect, the old lady looked fine and everything else seemed to be fine. So, until further notice, I'll just kind of... Story time, go! I was 14 this time, and oh boy, this is going to be a hysterical one. But first, a little backstory. So, I was always a running aficionado, or however you pronounce that word. A track and field season had already started, but because I kept relapsing into a terrible flu several times over the past month, I wasn't allowed to compete until it was almost the day of the first competition, right? And by the time I was allowed back on the team, I was very out of shape and lagging behind, naturally. And the first day of the competition is when my story really starts. Before leaving early for the race, I had to recite a long poem to my drama teacher so that she could discern whether I was good enough to be taken to a certain drama competition, because I'm also kind of a drama aficionado, however you pronounce that word. But because I was so nervous for the upcoming race, I completely botched up my lines. I couldn't remember anything. Strike one! And now I'm at the race, and I underperformed vastly because I just didn't have enough energy, of course. I think I end up almost last in both of the events that I've done. On an additional note, I was extremely competitive at the time and highly insecure, and I based my self-esteem on my accomplishments and whatnot. And so, seeing myself underperform, I cried in front of my coach and in front of my parents, and their attempts to console me only made it worse. Strike three. Later into the event, my running coach asked me, did you by any chance leave your bags in the van that I brought you at this event for? And I said, yeah. And he just kind of... Because guess why? The assistant coach, Katie, who was present during the race, left with the van with all my stuff in it. So after the final event, that would have to mean that my dad and I would have to go back to the school where Katie was headed with the van, and from there pick up my stuff. Strike four. Well, I hope you're ready to hear the rest of the story, because this one's giving me PTSD flashbacks to my insecure 14-year-old self. So, afterwards, my mom and sis went home while my dad and I had to crawl back to high school to pick up my bags. And it took us over an hour and a half because the traffic was really heavy. My dad got lost several times, and it was getting really late and dark. And I highly doubted that anybody would be there, including the assistant coach, Kat, because it was just getting that late. Strike five. Finally we get to the schools, and it's pretty dark out. Hoping against hope, we try the doors, hoping that they would open, and they didn't. Strike seven. I was about to despair. But, chicken butt, we see a light up in the second-story part of the building. Perhaps there's someone there after all. Dad and I start shouting just to get the people's attention from inside. No response. Then Dad starts doing the raddest thing I've seen him do yet. He takes some stones and he starts aiming them at the windows. I try too, but I have terrible aim and the window's way too high. Dad, we're never gonna get their attention. I cried through tears. Dad was resolute. If they can't open the damn doors, then we're gonna have to do it this way then, he said firmly. He took a step back and he aimed again. Bullseye. Hey! Came an angry voice from inside the lighted window. We heard some shuffling inside, and then they turned off the lights. Dang! Now they think we're burglars. Strike eight. Or strike seven. I don't even remember. Dad and I run to the doors again, and we shout for someone, anyone, to hear us and let us in. Then, through the door window, we see the school janitor appear. We need to see the assistant coach so that my daughter can pick up her stuff. My dad shouts through the door, I pretty much say the same thing, but each time the janitor was like, nope, sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. Tiffany, is that you? Somebody came next to the janitor. School? And I'll be darned, guys, it was the school principal herself. We did tell her why we were here, and bless her heart, she did let us in. And as if on cue, Katie just came in. She told me that my stuff were in the athletic office and I could pick them up, so I picked them up, and by that time I was so exhausted from relief. But not before relating to my dad that the teachers up in the second-story building thought that we were actual burglars because, I'm not gonna lie, the school where I went to wasn't the safest neighborhood, and that they almost called the police on us. Strike 9. So let's just assume that the most embarrassing and yet the most hysterical part of the story was being mistaken for a vandal from the hood. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Now you've got the dirt on me, so good night to all of you, and to all of you, a good night. Good night.